So right now, we've been reassured by the formula companies, like the major ones, Similac and Milk Gerber, that there's adequate supply. It's just that there's been increased demand because, like toilet paper, people are buying extra supply and stocking it at home. So I just want to reassure everybody that there's not a national shortage of formula. It's just that perhaps the local grocery stores may not currently be able to keep up with the demand. What we found, particularly with some families that can't necessarily afford formula, is that they might tend to try to stretch it out by diluting it. And we would say that that's not safe, particularly for young infants, because it wouldn't give them the proper nutrition and it could cause health problems. The other thing that families have used are alternatives like goat's milk. And goat's milk can be associated with deficiencies in vitamin D, vitamin B12, folate, and iron. So we would not recommend that. Please don't make your own formula. I think there have been a number of recipes online, and we definitely would want you to not do that for your younger infants. In addition, there are formula sales on eBay and other social platforms, and we can't really trust the safety of that, so we would recommend not doing that as well. Some things that families can consider is maybe going with a different brand. So there are a number of stores that have their own store brand. And when you look at the label, they're often very similar to the kind of bigger name brands. And so families could consider that. We would say not to necessarily think too creatively about alternatives, particularly for infants less than 4 to 6 months. But for older infants, you can definitely get a little bit creative and start to make your own pureed foods at home. But I would say for the younger infants, we definitely don't want any formula substitutes per se. The other thing that people have tried is taking pureed foods that they've made at home and put them in little ice cube trays so that way they can freeze these little mini meals and pull them out for later use. And we would still recommend sticking to the AAP guidelines of not introducing solids until after 4 to 6 months. So we just want families to be careful with foods that had a lot of fiber. So for example, if you're going to boil some broccoli and you're going to try to puree that, you have to remember that if you're using the stalks, you might want to put it through a strainer before you do that. In pediatrics, we are there to serve and help families, and we just want to let families know that we're there for them, and they can always reach us by phone. And we're also starting to do telehealth visits. It's another way. And we really do like and enjoy hearing from families so that we can help them meet their needs and connect them to resources.
As much as we love our favorite formulas, there are lots of equivalent formulas out there on the store shelves. Look for one that's made in the US, and it can be beneficial to call your pediatrician or your pediatrician's office and ask for a recommendation for an equivalent product. They usually will have lists of equivalent products. The formulas are specially made for infants, and they're broken down in particular ways and put together in particular ways to be nutritious for babies. And so just make sure you're using an actual infant formula that's made specifically for infants. If it is an emergency and you run out, contacting your local WIC office, they'll often have samples on the shelf. I know that the food banks are keeping formula in stock. It might not be the one you're used to, but that can be another, if you're running out of funds and supply, that can be another source. And just to try to stay calm. I know we're all kind of on edge a lot of the time, but the shortages are not going to be long-term. They're just a kind of a transitional thing if you're not seeing your particular formula on the shelf. So look for it somewhere else. You try to order it online, ask for an alternative. Those are definitely kind of the calming mechanisms that I'd use.